Hello class, we're back for the new and fresh video chikahan. And today, we're going to tackle these following sports. And their history, equipment and facility, basic rules and some individual skills. And without further ado, let's start our chikahan.
The history of basketball began with its invention in 1891 in Springfield, Massachusetts by Canadian physical education instructor James Naismith as less injury-prone sport than football. Naismith was a 31-year-old graduate student when he created the indoor sport to keep athletes indoor during the winters. And the equipment and facility in basketball are: first, the basketball court dimensions. 2. The backboard and rim. 3. The foul lane. 4. The key. 5. And the 3-point line arc. And 6. The line markings. And the basic rules in basketballs are: the winner of the basketball game is the team with the most points. You get points by throwing the basketball to the opponent's hoop or basket. In regular play, a basket made from within the 3-point line is worth 2 points, and basket shot from outside the 3-point line is worth 3 points. When shooting a free throw, each free throw is worth 1 point. And there are 5 basic individual skills. First, dribbling. Dribbling is an important skill for all basketball players. This skill will allow you to move up, down the court, maneuver past defender, and execute plays. Second is shooting. In order to score points in basketball, you need to shoot the ball into the hoop. There are different types of shots. You need to learn including jump shots, layups, and free throws. And the third one is running. Running is a big part of the basketball. In full court game, you will find yourself running back and forth as the game quickly transitions between offense and defense. Fourth is passing. Passing is another skill that when mastered can help you become a complete basketball player. Basketball is a team sport that involves finding teammate who is open for a shot. Next is jumping, the number 5. Jumping is another skill that can define a good player. Jumping is involved offense during jump ball, in the beginning while taking shots, and sometimes while trying to catch pass. On defensive, you will need ability to jump, trying to block a shot or pass. Being able to jump your opponent for a rebound also is important.
So volleyball was invented in 1895 by William G. Morgan, a physical director of Young Men's Christian Association or YMCA in Holyoke, Massachusetts. And the first name of volleyball was Mintonette. Equipments and facilities that are needed in volleyball are volleyball court dimension, center line, attack line, service line, the net, poles, ceiling height, and also the volleyball. So now we're gonna talk about the basic rules of volleyball. 6 players on a team, 3 on the front row, and 3 on the back row. Second rule is maximum of 3 hits per side. And the third rule was player may not hit the ball twice in succession. And last is a ball hitting a boundary line is in. In volleyball, there are 6 basic skills, which are the passing, setting, spiking, blocking, digging, and serving.
Softball is a modified form of baseball played on a smaller field with a larger ball, 7 rather than 9 innings, and with an underarm pitching. The game evolved during the late 19th century from a form of indoor baseball. The history of softball began in 1887 when George Hancock, a reporter for the Chicago Board of Trade, invented indoor baseball. By the spring of 1888, the game had spread outdoors, and it was originally called either mash ball, kitten ball, or indoor baseball. But by the 1920s, it had acquired the name of softball. These are the equipments in playing softball or baseball: a helmet, chest protector, and shin guards are the main equipment required for safety. And to play softball or baseball, we require a ball, a bat, gloves, and uniforms. These are the basic rules in playing softball or baseball. Number 1, runners must advance around all 4 bases to score a run. Number 2, 3 outs per team per inning. Number 3, 3 strikes and you're out. Number 4, 4 balls is a walk. Number 5, 7 innings in a game. Number 6, 9 players per team. Number 7, pitchers must throw underhand. Number 8, foul balls are softballs hit out of play. Number 9, runners must stay within the base path. And number 10, hit by pitch means free base. These are the basic skills that you must have in playing softball or baseball. The basic skills for any player involved in softball are throwing, catching, hitting for contact, hitting for power, and running. They are often referred to as the 5 tools because they are the 5 things that coaches and scouts look for in softball or baseball position players.
Association football, more commonly known as simply football or soccer, is a team sport played with a spherical ball between 2 teams of 11 players. It is played by approximately 250 million players in over 200 countries and dependencies, making the world's most popular sport. The history of football or soccer. Football or soccer, as the game is called in some parts of the world, has a long history. Football in its current form arose in England in the middle of the 19th century, but alternative version of the game existed much earlier and or a part of the football history. The most admitted story tells that the game was developed in England in the 12th century. In this century, games that resemble football were played on meadows and roads in England. How about the history of futsal? Futsal is a FIFA's official indoor soccer game, which is essentially a scaled-down version of outdoor soccer played indoors. It is a small-sided game, 5v5 played on a small field, roughly basketball court size, with a smaller side 3 to 4 size of ball. Futsal is played with touchline boundaries. The history of futsal. The earliest version of futsal is reportedly from Montevideo in Uruguay in the year 1930. The YMCA physical education trainer Juan Carlos Seriani Greger is accepted as the original creator of futsal. The name futsal is stated to be derived from the football de salon from Spanish and futebol de salon in Portuguese. A similar game played on a smaller size court and on the streets was observed in Sao Paulo, Brazil, roughly during the same time. The game became popular in the Latin American countries from the 1930s and 1980s. The main difference between futsal and football is usually played indoors while football is an outdoor sport. The proper attire of the futsal and soccer players are the same except to their shoes. So the soccer shoes has pointers in sole to hold the grass, unlike the futsal shoes has outsole for the slippery indoor pitch. And now let's talk about the goal. Futsal goal measures 3 meter by 2 meter in dimension and a depth of 0.8 meter at the crossbar. Base depth is 1 meter. Unlike the soccer goal measures 7.32 meter by 2.44 meter in dimension. Futsal court measures 40 meter length by 20 meter width in the USA. The surface can be made of wood, polymeric or rubber, and penalty area bow shape length including the goal is 6 meters where the first penalty point is located. The FIFA standard soccer court measures a maximum of 120 by 90 meter and minimum of 90 meter by 45 meter. The soccer field is generally on the outdoor, made of natural or artificial turf with green grass. The ball of futsal and the ball of football is not the same because futsal ball size is size 4 with 30% less bounce, unlike football size is size 5 for the professional football game. And now let's talk about players and position. Futsal players has 5 players will be on the court during the playing time. The number of substitutes will be unlimited. The maximum number of players on the bench will be 5, unlike soccer players. Every team has 11 players on the field. Maximum of 3 substitutes can be used in international match according to FIFA. The national team matches can have 6 substitutes. And now, let's talk about players' position. Goalkeeper in charge of the rival can deal goals, same with the futsal. And next, defenders. Their role is to defend and attack. In futsal, this role called fixo or fixed defender. And next, midfielders. They work for both attack and defense. In futsal, this role called ala or left and right winger. And last, we have the forward or the strikers, the scorer and the game maker. In futsal, this role called pivot or the target. The law for awarding the short corner kick in soccer is the same as a futsal. The long corner is taken when the defending team hits the ball behind the backline. Most of the soccer fouls are same as the futsal flows for the awarding of free and penalty kicks. At present, there are no accumulated fouls in soccer. Futsal has yellow and red cards. Yellow cards means caution, and red cards means disqualification from the game. 2 yellow cards will result in 1 red card. The same rules apply in the soccer sports also. The awarding of sanction depends on the observation made by the referee on the players' conduct during the play. In futsal, the standard duration of 40 minutes is split into 2 halves of 20 minutes. The break time is 15 minutes. In soccer, the standard duration of 90 minutes is split into 2 halves of 45 minutes. The break time is 15 minutes. There is no stopping of the clock in soccer unlike the futsal. The basic skills in football and futsal are the same, like passing. This has to be the most important futsal and soccer skill you need to know. The simple truth here is that if you don't know how to pass the ball, then you really don't know how to play soccer and futsal. And next, receiving a ball. This is probably the second most important thing in soccer and futsal after passing a ball. Every time you receive a pass from a teammate, you need to know what to do with the ball. And the third one is trapping. This is the third important skill you need to know as a soccer players and futsal players. However, trapping the ball is not the same as receiving it. When receiving a ball, you will generally be in movement, and when trapping a ball, you will often stand still. And the fourth skill is dribbling. If you don't know how to dribble, then chances of getting around the opponent are very small. Remember, dribbling is not the same as being the ball with enormous power. You have to be able to hit the goal properly.
Hello guys, I'm Bernard Lising. Our topic for today is all about the Sepak Takraw. Sepak Takraw is a sport native to Southeast Asia. Sepak Takraw differs from the similar sports of foot volley in its use a rattan ball and only allowing players to use their feet, knee, chest, and head to touch the ball. The history of Sepak Takraw. Sepak Takraw was originated in Malaysia around 500 years ago. In the 15th century, it was most played by the royal court. Around 16th century, the game was spread across Indonesia where people called it Sepak Raga. By 1940, the net version of the game was spread across Southeast Asia and formal rules and regulations were formed for the game. The first official Sepak Takraw competition was held at the Swim Club on May 16, 1945 in Penang, where teams mostly from various villages of Penang participated in it. During that period, the game used to be called Sepak Raga Jaring. Slowly the game spread across Southeast Asia and around 1950s, it was played in almost every school. Different parts and lines of the Sepak Takraw court are as follows. First is center line. The center line is of 0.02 meters drawn in the middle of the court, dividing it into two equal halves. Second, the quarter circles. At each side of the central line corners, quarter circle with a radius of 3 feet are drawn. And lastly, the service circle. Each has a service circle from where the server serves the ball. Each of them has a radius of around 1 foot and the center of each circle is 8 feet from the back lines and 10 feet from the sideline. Equipment of Sepak Takraw. The equipment used in Sepak Takraw are mostly comprised of the net and the hand-woven rattan ball. Beside these two, other equipment such as playing jersey, shoes, and protective guards are also used. A brief description about all these equipment is as follows. First is ball, second net, third shoes, and lastly protective gear. First equipment is ball. Ball is considered as the most essential equipment of the game. The ball is spherical in shape and usually made of synthetic fiber. In some cases, a hand-woven layer is also used. Initially, the ball was made up of rattan strip which were gradually replaced by synthetic strip. Usually, the ball has maximum weight of 170 to 180 grams for men and 150 to 160 grams for women. Second is net. The net used in the game is usually made of ordinary cord or nylon with 6 to 8 cm mass and it usually heavier and stronger than badminton nets in order to provide better impact when the ball hits it. The net should be 0.7 meters with a maximum length of 6.1 meters. The height of the net should be 1.42 meters from the center of the court for women and 1.52 meters for men. Next is shoes. The shoes used in this game are light in weight and have flat side with soles. It has a good grip on both indoor and outdoor surface and has a sole inside supporting the high impact of constant jumping and landing. These are especially made for players to help them kick perfectly. Lastly, protective gear. In this game, usually ankle supportive bands are used by players for providing protection as high jumping is involved throughout the game. Even knee tensor are also used by players in order to prevent joints and tendon injury. Some players use ankle gears for ankle support. Players also use for head bandanas in order to stop the sweat running into ice. Let's proceed to basic rules of the game. The game starts with the serve. The team that has 2 servers is decided by tossing a coin. The winner of the toss can either choose to serve or choose to defend. The side that serve first start the set. During the serve, the server must have one of his leg inside the service circle, whereas the other player must stay in their respective quarter circle. Either the hitter or the striker first tosses the ball to the server who then kick the ball across the net to the opponent's side with no foot in the server's circle.
And that's all, class. I hope you learned something about the history of the games that we already tackled. The equipment, the facilities, basic rules, and basic individual skills. Keep safe always, wear your mask, proper sanitizing, proper diet, and always drink water. That would be all. God bless.